Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And man, do I have this aggressively average content for you today. As oh boy, please wait all the way to the end of this video, as I have an extremely important surprise for everyone in the XRP community. But first, we have this from Whale Wire. The Ethereum Foundation is very corrupt, and with us exposing ETHgate for 2.5 years, we all know and understand this. But the general crypto community doesn't see it. Not only has Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation been in bed with the SEC, but they have deep ties with the crypto cartel rigging the markets. It's not a coincidence that they dumped most of their holdings at the exact peak. Here, we see the evidence of the Ethereum Foundation selling 70,000 ETH at the exact top 2018 in January. Then again, 40,000 ETH November 2021. There's also videos of Vitalik admitting this publicly so that no one can deny it. And the reason I say this is because ETH has always been the bad actor. Ripple and XRP have always been transparent and tried to get things done legally. But because we live in an inherently corrupt system, it's the bad actors that win. And it's the good ones that get sued. This Ripple SEC case is the most important thing that could change the trajectory of the crypto market for everyone. This could finally allow good actors to thrive. And that's why, despite the fact that we've been suffering holding strong for 2.5 years, it's the greatest thing that could have happened to the XRP army and crypto as a whole. When everything's said and done, and XRP has full-blown clarity, while the rest of the crypto market is suffering going through lawsuits, we'll all be grateful. XRP will be the leader of the next cycle. And write that in your books now, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we can 100% understand this because the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of central banks, keeps talking about the same exact narrative, the same exact use case with the same exact Ripple partners that we've been talking about for years. All these Ripple partners and these digital currency use cases keep being brought up in the highest levels, and it's because it's the agenda, and Ripple's gonna play a major role in it. Please take a quick listen so that all of you know where the world is going.
Payments are essential to the global economy, and innovation is making it faster and easier to pay for things in our everyday lives. Project Meridian from the BIS Innovation Hub London Centre and the Bank of England is looking at how financial technology can improve transactions for a wide range of assets. The project experiments using the complex process of buying a house. It builds a prototype new entity, a synchronization operator, at the centre of the transaction. They electronically coordinate the simultaneous transfer of money and house ownership. The synchronization operator asks for funds to be reserved in the buyer's bank account so they can only be used to purchase the property. At an agreed time, the operator starts the payment process. It asks the central bank to move funds from the buyer's bank to the seller's bank. Simultaneously, documents are electronically signed, passing ownership of the house to the buyer. The documents, completed in advance by legal representatives, would contain the information needed to update ownership details on the land registry. The operator automates this whole process and provides complete transparency. Everybody in the transaction is kept updated. Slow and frustrating paper trails would be replaced with fast digital procedures. And the buyer no longer wonders, have I bought that house yet? The prototype is scalable and flexible. It could synchronize the purchase of multiple houses simultaneously, and it could be applied to other types of transaction, such as banks exchanging currencies with each other. The automated processes could also lead to further innovation, for example by linking to other digital records to help protect against financial crime. Project Meridian, simplifying transactions through innovation.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, we have this happening at the exact same time that social credit systems are launching, especially at an accelerated rate in Western nations. It started with China as the epicenter, and now we have Australia having their social credit score introduced to access the internet via your digital ID, and citizens will need 100 points of identification to use social media, and the police will have access to your social media accounts, including private messaging. Imagine the levels of enforcement the government will have if this gets implemented. Imagine if you have a bad opinion against the government, or maybe you're a trucker protesting mandates. Imagine Canada is looking to consider preloaded stimulus to boost the economy. Universal basic income is going to be the drug that they give to society, especially in Western nations, to neuter the public away from revolts. We are going into one of the biggest, most manufactured financial crises on the planet. People's jobs are going to be lost because of AI. That's going to compound the unemployment rate. That's going to compound the human suffering. But universal basic income, accompanied with that preloaded CBDC stimulus that comes with ESG, that comes with social credit scores, that right there, my friends, is when it's too late. You know the agenda's coming now, and you have to get out of the system. They're manufacturing a banking crisis through the accelerated interest rate hikes. And if you don't have XRP as your financial life raft, then there may not be any hope for you left.
Because you allude to it in your fiscal update, the language seems to me to be important. Smart, targeted. These are words that suggest you want to make very careful, kind of incisive spending on the government's part to get the economy going. What might that look like? Can you give us any detail?
Well, it's great to be with you, Amanda. And I want to thank you, first of all, for really zeroing in on the preloaded stimulus idea. None of us have a crystal ball, but economists like Ben, like Doug, have been pointing out that some Canadian households, and it tends to be the better off households, do have quite a lot of money that they've saved because there hasn't been that much to do in the pandemic. And certainly it would be great if that money could go towards driving our recovery. And I want to make an offer now to all of your listeners. If people have ideas on how the government can act to help unlock that preloaded stimulus, I am very, very interested. Maybe, as Doug Porter was suggesting, it happens by itself. That's the best case scenario for me. But if people have ideas on how we can really, try to unleash that, and particularly unleash it in the parts of the Canadian economy that really need support, tourism, hospitality, domestic services, let me know.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you might not have caught that, but she's talking about unleashing that idle capital some Canadians may have in their accounts. Maybe they're being lazy and don't want to spend the money. Let's incentivize that spending of that money with a CBDC that has expiration dates. Wouldn't that be something? Imagine that stimulus being plugged into people's accounts and you having a limited time to spend it. What an accelerant to people spending money. And what a constraint in people being able to build wealth. You see, this is such an uphill battle, as we see that they continue to rein in crypto regulation. The Department of Justice, their new crypto enforcement director, promises to crack down on illicit behavior on exchanges. What happens if one day retail investors just being able to buy some cryptos is considered illicit behavior? We have to deal with so many constraints to build wealth already. Inflation and taxes are just a few. And once these CBDCs really hit, it'll be nearly impossible.
Inflation isn't theft, then why can't people counterfeit money?
If they can just print money, why do we pay taxes?
Wow.
Inflation's not theft, and we can just print money, and we don't have enough money. We can just print more money and give everyone that doesn't have enough money. Why don't we just do that instead of paying taxes? Inflation is legal counterfeiting. Counterfeiting is criminal inflation. So central banking is a coordinated currency counterfeiting cartel that runs the world. It's a Band-Aid. You know what Milton Friedman said about inflation is that it's just like alcoholism. The good effects come early, right? You print the money, you have the drink, you feel good. The hangover comes later. The same is true of inflation. Every time the crisis comes, you have to print exponentially more money because there are exponentially more liabilities in the system from the last round of printing. And so this is why it's unsustainable, and this is why it always culminates in hyperinflation. Because the central bank has not only the precedent, but also the incentive to continue printing the money until the currency hyperinflates into worthlessness.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the clip I want you to marinate on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the clip that I want you all to linger on, as it's going to be the thesis for my next video. I've been letting every single one of you know that I've been doing my best to give as much value to all of you as possible. And I'm increasing the amount of free content I make to this community because we all deserve to mentally prepare and brace for what's coming. And I believe this is where we need to work harder than we ever have before. And that's by staying informed. Ladies and gentlemen, my first episode of the Aggressively Average podcast is launching live on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble tomorrow, as I'll be discussing how the Titanic, the Federal Reserve System, income taxes, inflation, and all the topics we talk about on this channel daily all tie in together. A lot of people want to dismiss all the things we discuss on this channel as conspiracy. But when coincidences after coincidences after coincidences happen in a synchronistic manner, they are no longer just coincidence, but they're the truth. I believe the closer we get to the bottom line of what happened in the world in 1913, if we could zero in on that, we'll be able to understand what is going to happen next, especially with the XRP financial system and how that's going to be the next generation of the Fed system. We're waiting for the collapse. And in the meantime, generational wealth is there to be made. You can't call us lucky. We've prepared for years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing pricing for their carbon credit solution, XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple, who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America. Ripple, who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve. Ripple, a former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division. Ripple, leading Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple, who hired a former Treasury of the United States. Ripple, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board. Ripple, 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at SWIFT, former SWIFT board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website. Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.